Audrey, marry that paralyzed guy from the Hayes family instead of Skylar. Then we'll get this special medicine for your mom right away. I agreed to my father's demand. On my way back to my room, at the turn of the stairs, through the partially open door, I saw my former fiancé pinning another woman against the wall. His voice was hoarse and full of tenderness. Skylar, you're the only one I love. A few minutes later, he walked out of the room, glancing at me as if I were a servant. The sheets are dirty. Go clean them up. I stood my ground, my fingernails digging into my palms. He raised an eyebrow. What? You won't? I stared into his eyes and then, suddenly, I smiled. Liam, I'm marrying someone else in 2 weeks. You should probably ask Skylar to wash those sheets herself. Audrey POV. As long as you're willing to marry that shut-in, practically dead man from the Hayes family instead of Skylar, your mom will get the special medicine right away. Are you willing? I nodded seriously. I am. Once I was married, I would never have to be entangled with Liam again. In 2 weeks, I'd be marrying another man. I walked out of my father's study and turned to go upstairs, only to hear Skylar's soft voice mingling with a man's heavy breathing. Through the door, left ajar, I saw everything inside. Liam, I suffered so much growing up, never had a good life, and now I can't even keep you. Ever since I came back to this house, Audrey has bullied me. Now she's even stealing you away with an engagement. Skylar sounded on the verge of tears. Liam gently comforted her. I would never marry a woman I don't love. You're the only one I love. Suffered outside? A rough life? My womanizing father had spent a fortune on that mother-daughter duo over the years. I stood outside the door, lost in thought, until Liam appeared before me, bringing me back to reality. So, you love eavesdropping? Perfect! The sheets are dirty. Go clean them up. Liam's casual tone made it sound like the most normal request. My hands involuntarily clenched. Do you really need to humiliate me like this? We grew up together for so many years. Did it truly mean nothing? Liam raised an eyebrow, seemingly mocking me. Sure it did. If you promise to never bully Skylar again, I'll marry you. No sooner had he spoken than Skylar appeared beside him, linking her arm through his. Audrey, I know you're used to taking my things, but you and Liam aren't married yet. I won't give them up to you. Skylar's feigned distress was obvious, and Liam looked at her with doting pity. A dull ache throbbed somewhere deep inside me as past memories flooded back. Liam and I grew up together, the perfect couple everyone in our circle acknowledged. Liam had planned 999 surprises, each one public and citywide news. I should have had a happy family and a successful career. But everything changed when Skylar's mother showed up at the Bennett estate with Skylar, causing a scene. My mother couldn't accept that her husband had an adult, illegitimate daughter. She fell gravely ill and needed long-term treatment. With his wife near death, my father simply moved Skylar and her mother in. Even my own fiancé was completely smitten with Skylar. Now, disregarding our engagement and years of shared history, he was determined to be with Skylar. The once privileged Bennett daughter now had to rely on others. And then, to make things worse, the Bennett family company faced a financial crisis. The infamous Hayes family in New York specifically requested a Bennett daughter. Marry into their family, and they would help the Bennett company overcome its crisis. But the billionaire Mr. Hayes was rumored to be a sickly shut-in, practically a dead man walking. Seeing that Skylar was now the favored daughter, my father naturally couldn't bear to sacrifice her. My marriage would solve all their problems. My only condition was that my father keep his word and save my mother. I just never expected to be humiliated by these two betrayers right before I left. Seeing my silence, Liam smiled faintly, looking at Skylar with feigned affection, then turned his gaze to me. If you're really lonely, you can come join us. Skylar laughed, trembling slightly. You and Audrey were together for so long, and she never let you touch her. How could someone so uptight possibly join us? Skylar's contemptuous gaze was undisguised, making me incredibly uncomfortable. I bit down hard on my lower lip, my voice trembling as I finally managed to speak. No thanks. You two just have fun. Liam gave me a cold glance, then picked up Skylar, and they walked toward the bedroom. I watched their retreating backs. In 2 weeks, all this love and hate would finally be over. Audrey POV. I stood outside the door, listening to the increasingly uninhibited sounds from inside. This time, it seemed they knew someone was listening. Liam grew more enthusiastic, and Skylar's voice grew louder. It was only now that I truly understood the kind of person I had once loved. Since he showed no regard for our past feelings, abandoning me so decisively, then I had no reason to cling to anything either. From now on, this debauched man would have absolutely nothing to do with me. All I wanted was to escape this place. Instead of listening to their lovemaking, I'd rather go see Mom at the hospital. That afternoon, I took a taxi to the hospital. Ever since Skylar and her mother moved in, I'd not only had to guard against them poisoning my father's ear, but also search everywhere for new treatments for Mom. It had been a while since I last visited. But just thinking that in 2 weeks, Mom would finally get the special medicine, I couldn't help but feel happy. I held Mom's hand and talked for a while before reluctantly preparing to leave. Mom, I won't give up on you. Miss Bennett, your mom might need to switch rooms. The hospital nurse appeared at the door. We have a VIP arriving today, and the hospital's most luxurious private room is the one your mother is currently in. I froze for a moment, then immediately reacted. Is it about the medical fees? I'll pay immediately. Please don't move my mom. She can't handle any more stress right now. As I spoke, I pulled my bank card from my bag. The nurse's expression grew increasingly troubled. Miss Bennett, a powerful and influential figure, is arriving today. We really can't afford to offend them. Please don't make this difficult for me. You should pack up your things soon. No sooner had the nurse finished speaking than a flurry of hurried footsteps drew my attention. The man who had been intimately entangled at home just moments ago was now standing right before me. My heart sank, and the bank card slipped from my hand to the floor. Liam looked serious, standing beside Skylar, clearly there to back her up. Skylar linked her arm through Liam's. Liam, I heard Audrey's mom is using the best private room in this hospital. My mom is coming for skin therapy soon, and since you love me so much, you'll definitely want to give me the best, right? She finished, giving Liam a sweet smile. Liam looked a bit hesitant, as he was aware of my mother's condition. He finally spoke after a long pause. Of course I love you. It's just... Before Liam could finish, Skylar pouted and whined. Whether I can marry you depends on my mom's approval. Are you really so reluctant to be nice to her? At that, Liam's hesitation vanished completely, and his cold voice rang out. Clear out the best private room. As Liam spoke, a group of nurses from the hospital rushed into the room, preparing to clear it out. The moment a nurse touched the breathing machine, I reacted as if I'd been shocked, rushing forward to fiercely protect it. No one knew better than me that the breathing machine was Mom's life. Skylar saw my distress and couldn't help but laugh. Audrey, you were raised in the Bennett family. How can you be so rude? If others see you like this, they'll think you lack manners. I couldn't be bothered to argue about such things. All I wanted was to protect Mom. Liam saw that I had no intention of moving and began to coax me. Audrey, Skylar's mom will be here soon. You have to clear out the room. Don't delay her therapy. I knelt by the hospital bed, sobbing and gasping for air. Skylar, you already have so much. Why do you have to take away my mom's last hope of living? Skylar lowered her head, her voice full of grievance. Liam, it's okay if I don't get the room. After all, I'm used to having things taken from me since I was little. With just a few words, Skylar had Liam wrapped around her finger. He gave a look, and the bodyguards beside him immediately understood, rushing straight in. Ignoring my screams, they forcibly pulled me away from the hospital bed. I struggled, but I couldn't break free from the two men's grasp. I could only watch helplessly as the nurses took the opportunity to wheel Mom out. Audrey POV. My mother and I were wheeled into a regular hospital ward, not a private room. The moment I stepped in, the strong, pungent smell of smoke made me recoil. The hospital beds inside were simply separated by curtains, and 6 people were crowded into one room. I turned to leave, but the nurse behind me spoke. Hospital beds are tight lately. Even this one was hard to get. I hesitated, then turned back. Mom's face was a little purple from being off the breathing machine for a few minutes. I meticulously cared for her, making sure the bed was spotless. Just as I was about to go out for some hot water, I found Skylar waiting by the hot water dispenser. Someone who's practically dying doesn't deserve a deluxe private room, does she? I came, and she still had to make way for me. My fingertips dug into my palms, a searing pain shooting through me. I forced myself to calm down. It was better to avoid trouble now. Taking care of Mom was most important. My kettle filled with water. I prepared to leave, but Skylar wasn't going to let me off that easily. Everything you have now should have been mine. Why did you get to live such a good life for so many years? She spoke faster and faster, almost frenzied by the end. As long as you're dead, the entire Bennett Corporation will be mine and Liam will be mine alone. With that, Skylar snatched the kettle from my hand and threw it at me. In an instant, the kettle shattered, and most of the freshly boiled hot water splashed onto me. Skylar wasn't spared either. The splashing hot water made Skylar scream. Liam, who was searching for Skylar, happened to pass by. He heard Skylar's screams and saw her exposed skin turn red from the burns. Ignoring everything else, he scooped up Skylar and ran towards the emergency room. He didn't even spare me a glance. I gave a self-deprecating laugh. Was I really expecting him to abandon Skylar and tend to me? I used all my strength to walk to the nearby sink. I turned on the faucet, letting the cold water run over my burned skin. Only when the burning sensation slowly subsided did I rush to the examination room. With water that hot, it's a good thing you rinsed it with cold water immediately. The scars shouldn't be too noticeable. The doctor applied burn cream to the wound, and the pain in my arm became increasingly obvious. I gritted my teeth, enduring it. I couldn't collapse. Mom still needed me to take care of her. Tiny beads of sweat dripped from my forehead onto the floor. The pain of the application felt incredibly long. The door to the examination room was kicked open by Liam, his face a mask of barely suppressed fury. What did you do to Skylar? You venomous woman. You're clearly jealous of her. Do you know her leg is going to scar? I looked up, my face pale, my lips trembling, barely able to meet Liam's gaze. You believe everything Skylar says? What about me? If I wanted to harm her, why would I hurt myself so badly? Speaking that sentence almost used up all my strength. Liam was about to speak when Skylar's pain scream from outside the door, where she was having her dressing changed, interrupted him. You better pray Skylar is okay. Throwing out that threat, Liam turned and left. I watched his retreating back, closing my eyes, remembering our time together. I used to squat by the roadside, feeding stray cats, and Liam would say I was the most beautiful girl in the world. After I bought flowers from a flower girl, Liam would hug me and say I was so kind. When I went to the orphanage to do charity work, Liam would look at me with a smile. And now he could say such things to me. It was so obvious when love was gone. After enduring the dressing, I dragged myself towards the ward. Passing by a room, I heard Skylar's voice. Liam, it hurts so much, but as long as you're by my side, I don't feel the pain. Liam kept his lips tight, his expression grim. He seemed to be staring intently at Skylar's wound. Skylar kept talking, and then Liam suddenly leaned down and kissed the burned spot on her leg. His eyes seemed to hold an undisguised tenderness. Liam, so this is how you love someone. When I was with him, I never saw him care for someone so deeply. A wrenching pain shot through my chest. Audrey POV. I returned to the hot water dispenser room and cleaned up the broken shards on the floor. Just as I turned around, I saw Liam standing behind me. Skylar said she won't pursue this, but I have to make you pay a price so you don't make a habit of bullying her. Liam's face was grim, as if he wanted to devour me. I knew I hadn't done anything wrong, so I straightened my back and met his gaze. You came to find me, and Skylar doesn't know, does she? If she knew, she definitely wouldn't let you come, because she knows better than anyone whose fault it was this afternoon. Liam frowned. What do you mean? Skylar wouldn't falsely accuse you. I didn't answer him, just grabbed his sleeve and walked towards the security room. See the surveillance footage for yourself. Everything will be clear. The security guard nearby pulled up the afternoon's footage, high definition, panoramic, and with audio. In a few minutes, everything was crystal clear. Liam's expression still seemed unchanged. I spoke up proactively. If I were to call the police, would this count as intentional assault? Spending 10 days or half a month in jail shouldn't be an issue. Only when Skylar was mentioned did Liam's expression finally show a ripple. What do you want to keep you from doing that? My heart skipped a beat, so Liam actually had to plead with me. But this was indeed my goal. I took a deep breath. You injured me this badly. You owe me medical expenses, right? $5 million, no negotiating. Liam glanced at me, then pulled a bank card from his wallet and tossed it on the floor, speaking coldly. The pin is Skylar's birthday. I can't believe you've become so money-grubbing now that I don't know what makes you any different from those gold diggers. Do you even deserve to be a Bennett girl alongside Skylar? Liam gave me the money, but still didn't forget to humiliate me. Even though this was compensation for me. Pick it up. Don't you love money? Liam's voice carried a hint of contempt. I picked it up almost without hesitation, faking a casual smile. Thanks, Liam. Liam snorted coldly. Audrey, you're truly despicable, losing all your dignity for a bit of cash. With that, he turned and left, leaving me alone. I looked at myself in the mirror, pulling a self-deprecating smile. In the past, when I was the favored Bennett girl, I wouldn't have even looked at this amount of money. But ever since Mom entered the hospital, Dad wouldn't even pay her medical bills, let alone give me pocket money. What was my dignity compared to Mom's well-being? I just wanted her to be okay, to have the best medical care. I pulled myself together, returned to the ward, and contacted another reputable hospital to transfer Mom. Now that I had the money, I no longer feared being kicked out. After transferring her to the new hospital and arranging everything, seeing Mom's face look much more peaceful in the bed, I finally left with peace of mind. By the time I returned home, I was so exhausted I just wanted to lie down and sleep. Half asleep, I heard urgent footsteps downstairs, and I couldn't help but step out to see what was happening. All the servants in the house were at the entrance, ready to welcome someone. Hurry up, Skylar will be back soon. She injured her leg and can't move easily, so be sharp. No sooner had the words fallen than the roar of an engine stopped at the door. The servants stood in 2 rows, and Liam carried Skylar, walking through the middle under everyone's gaze, straight upstairs. Skylar buried her face in Liam's chest, her face flushed with shyness. As they passed me, I met Skylar's challenging gaze. I vaguely heard Skylar's feigned angry complaint. What are you doing? So many people are here. Put me down quickly. Liam freed one hand and held her firmly, his voice hoarse. Don't move. Skylar, who had been slightly struggling moments before, now lay comfortably and securely in Liam's arms. Audrey POV. I'd seen this kind of sweet scene plenty of times at home. I went back to my room, hoping to pick up where I left off sleeping. But the room's soundproofing was terrible, and I could hear everything next door clearly. Skylar's whining voice was as if she were right next to my ear. "Liam, I'm fine. It doesn't hurt anymore. Will you kiss me? I just had a skin treatment a few days ago. Will you hold me?" Skylar tried every trick to keep Liam there, but the man remained silent. I decided to leave my room and go to the study, which was the farthest away, to rest. As soon as I stepped out, a quick glance showed Liam kissing Skylar's lips, his eyes seemingly sincere and passionate. "Skylar, whatever you want, I'll unconditionally stand by you and protect you from any harm, always." Liam's gaze was more serious than I had ever seen, as solemn as if he were reciting wedding vows. I left without looking back. I should have stopped expecting anything else long ago. The next day, I was in my room sorting through my belongings. I was getting married and leaving this house in a little over 10 days. When Mom was well, this was home. Now, I just wanted to escape this place. I inventoried what I had left. Part of the wedding fund Mom had prepared for me had already been spent on her medical treatment. From my dwindling wedding fund, I found a diamond necklace. Mom had worn it on her wedding day. She gave it to me when she found out Liam and I were dating. Mom still remembered. "Audrey, wear it on your wedding day for a lifetime of happiness." Before I could pull my distant thoughts back, the necklace in my hand was snatched away. "You actually hid things from me? Don't you know the company is facing a financial crisis, and we can barely afford to eat? How dare you buy jewelry?" I instinctively tried to snatch it back, but the necklace was too delicate, and I was worried Skylar's agitated state would break it. I calmed down. "Give it back to me." Skylar became even more emboldened. "What's yours is the Bennett family's, and I have a share in the Bennett family's things." She held it in her hand, looking it over and over. I silently prayed Skylar wouldn't take a liking to it. After a few glances, Skylar found it uninteresting. "What an old-fashioned thing. Why do you treasure it so much? Clearly, you've never seen anything good." "Liam just brought me back a ruby from the auction house a few days ago. Why would I care about a broken necklace?" I secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Just as I was about to take it back, watching intently, Skylar's hand suddenly slipped, and the necklace fell directly to the floor. The diamond necklace, which had been perfectly fine moments ago, shattered into pieces, diamonds scattered everywhere. I froze for a moment, then immediately knelt, trying to pick up the diamond with my hands. Some sharp fragments cut my hand, but I didn't even feel it. I kept murmuring, "Mom left this for me." Skylar stood by, making sarcastic remarks. "It's just a necklace? Is it that big a deal? You're so petty." Hearing that, I felt like I was going crazy. "This is different. You have everything now. Why do you still have to take my things?" My voice was trembling uncontrollably. "I've already agreed to marry that Hayes family man in your place. Why won't you leave me alone? Once I'm gone, Liam will be all yours. Why couldn't you just wait a little longer?" My anguished shouts were met only with Skylar covering her ears, annoyed by the noise. The commotion in the room drew Liam in. He entered, immediately checking Skylar from head to toe, then asked with concern, "She didn't hurt you, did she? Are you uncomfortable anywhere?" Skylar shook her head, tears welling up in her eyes out of nowhere. Liam looked heartbroken. The moment he turned towards me, it was as if he was a different person. "If you have grievances, take them out on me. Why do you always take it out on Skylar? You only dare to bully her when I'm not around." My throat felt like it was on fire, and I didn't want to see these two, who betrayed me acting so affectionate in front of me again. I pointed towards the door. "Both of you, get out." Liam scanned me from head to toe with a look of disgust, then pulled Skylar and walked out the door. Audrey POV. Only I was left in the room, crying silently. I sat weakly on the floor, clutching the broken necklace tightly in my hand. This was the only thing Mom had left for me, and now Skylar had carelessly broken it. Without even an apology. I wiped away my tears. Mom didn't know when she would wake up, and I absolutely couldn't leave the wedding fund she had painstakingly saved for me to this family. This was Mom's life savings. It absolutely couldn't go to anyone else. It was like something clicked in my mind. I stood up from the floor and rushed straight to my father's study. I gently knocked on the door, and a deep voice from inside said, "Come in." I composed myself, took a deep breath, and placed my hand on the cold doorknob. From the anxious expression on my father's face, I knew our family company was in a very dangerous situation. Otherwise, he wouldn't be arranging a strategic marriage for his daughter to save the company. I didn't speak, and the room fell silent. Only the sound of my father flipping through papers and sighing could be heard. It wasn't until my father happened to look up that he noticed I had appeared in the study. I spoke first, breaking the heavy atmosphere. My voice was a little strained. "Dad, I'm getting married soon. My mom left me a trust fund. That's 20% of the company's shares." Hearing about the shares, my father's hand visibly paused. He closed the documents in his hand and stared intently at me. "Audrey, you know the company hasn't been doing well lately. You don't need these shares. When I manage the company well, I'll give you more later." I still didn't back down. Instead, I seized his weak point. "Dad, since you admit this is the trust fund my mom left me, when I want it as my business, you wouldn't want everyone in the city to know on my wedding day that our family can't even produce assets, would you? It would only make you lose face then, wouldn't it?" I was like a snake now, tightly wrapped around what was rightfully mine. My father's words sounded good now, but if I actually got married, the shares might not end up in my hands. I insisted on getting them now, and a few sentences put my father in an awkward position. While my father was hesitating, I added fuel to the fire. "Dad, only if we create profit for the Hayes family in New York will they be willing to help us." I knew that the entire company was now focused on my marriage, hoping to quickly connect with the billionaire Mr. Hayes and alleviate the financial crisis. My father pondered for a few seconds, then took out his phone and called his assistant. "Bring me the share transfer agreement." Before I could even breathe a sigh of relief, the study door opened. Liam walked in, holding Skylar's hand, looking every bit like an affectionate couple. Liam glanced at me with obvious disdain. He stood to the side and spoke casually. "So you're that cunning after all? Didn't you say you wouldn't fight for anything? Now you're secretly asking Dad for something behind Skylar's back?" I looked at my father, but he always preferred to avoid conflict, completely ignoring my gaze. I knew he was always unreliable in critical moments. "Yes, I am fighting for it. I've done a lot for the company over the years. I'm just taking what's rightfully mine. Why would I be a fool and not take money when it's offered?" I couldn't be bothered to argue with them. Just as I was about to turn and leave the study, my wrist was pulled back by an unknown force. Liam's face had turned grim, his eyes seemingly bloodshot. "Skylar doesn't even have that. What makes you think you deserve it?" I met his gaze, unafraid, only feeling the righteousness of what I deserved. "Why?" "Because my mother married into this family all those years ago, and the Bennett family's company value increased hundreds of times over." For a moment, the two of us stood there, locked in a silent standoff. Liam was so stunned by my words that he couldn't utter a single sentence. My father, seated at the desk, had a sullen expression. Suddenly, a soft whimpering sound broke the silence. It was Skylar. "Dad, I know you've always favored Audrey. After all, she's the one who grew up with you. I'm just an illegitimate daughter who is out there, living in the shadows. It's only natural for you to treat her well." The more Skylar spoke, the heavier her sobs became. The guilt on my father's face deepened. Then, as if her pent-up grievances had reached their peak, she covered her mouth and ran out. My father, without thinking, chased after her. Only Liam and I remained in the study.